Welcome, class, to Lesson 9. Our topics this week will be relevance and quality score, and then installing Google Analytics. We'll also have the beginning of Project 3, create a Google Ads campaign. Relevance and quality score is now getting into the more technical side of Google Ads. I mentioned this before, but when you launch a Google Ads campaign, it will bid against other people who are wanting to display their ad on the same keywords as you. You're in a bidding war. And it's a question of who has the highest bid, but also who has the best ad. So Google will give you a quality score on your ad. The better that quality score, the lower your bid has to be, the lower your dollar amount has to be to win that bid. Because they'll factor in your quality score and say, hey, they're bidding $2 for company A, but their quality score is very high, and company B is bidding $3, but their quality score is very low. And Google has an algorithm that says, company A will win that, for example. So you want to have a quality score. You won't see a quality score until you start to win a couple of those bids, and then you actually have to launch the campaign and get it moving before you see your quality score. But I've given you kind of just a very rough explanation. You'll get a much better explanation from these articles here as far as what is a quality score and how to increase your quality score. And so your assignment is to respond to these scenarios below. If someone had a quality score of 4, what are 3 things you would recommend they do to increase the score? And then for each of the items that you list, explain why making those changes will increase the quality score. So we're looking for you to demonstrate some proficiency in not only what a quality score is, why it's important, but how to influence it. That's the key question for you in your role, is how do you influence your quality score? How do you improve it? And this should be at least 150 words. Next, let's jump into Project 3. Project 3 is really about you activating your campaign and showing evidence that your campaign is enabled and ready to go, because we will start to develop data for this for your Project 4. So this one is really simple. The first part of this, it is not due. This week. You don't need to launch it this week, but you need to create an ads campaign for your website that contains 1 ad group, 1 ad, and 10 keywords. That's it. So you've been working on your ad campaign through the different assignments. You've been writing your ads. You just need to have those elements prepared on an ad campaign. Next week, we will finish it. But for this week, you just need those elements in there for the beginning of Project 3. The last topic this week is installing Google Analytics. And Google Analytics is important because the information you'll get, if you're not familiar with Google Analytics, it's essentially a program that tracks everything that happens on your website, anything a visitor does, and then reports that up to you in a usable format. And the information you get from Google Analytics is free, and it's information in a traditional brick and mortar business, in an in-person business. Companies used to pay, and still do pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars for these studies to figure out what customers are doing in the store. Where do they go in the grocery store? What do they look at first? And in a grocery store, they actually set the cost of displaying your product depending on where customers go in the store. It's more expensive to display your product in a high traffic area. And so this is really, really valuable information. You get it for free because of Google Analytics. To do this, you'll develop a code snippet. We've used those before in other aspects, right? Just like for the PayPal assignment. But you'll develop a code snippet, and this time you will copy and paste that into your website. It will change a little bit depending on your site builder. Your site builder will have instructions, so I won't tell you exactly where to paste that because it depends on your site builder. But this is very, very common, and so your site builder will have instructions for you on where to paste it on your website. So you paste the tracking code you used onto your website, but also paste it onto a Word document because I want to see that tracking code, and then explain where you pasted the tracking code, and then also explain how you link Google Analytics and Google Ads account. And so there's an article here that explains that. That's going to be important for our return on investment assignment later on, and we'll explain more about that connection. And then finally, explain why you feel Google Analytics will help your business be more successful. I will add one extra tidbit on this. Please make sure you're using a universal analytics tag. There's what's called a GA4 account that's new that Google likes to use. You want to use universal analytics. And you'll see that option there when you're developing the code snippet. If you're having trouble with that, please reach out. I had a couple students last semester who had trouble with it because Google Analytics just updated their user interface to push people more to that GA4 account. But that will cause you some consternation later on, so make sure you've got a universal analytics account. And that'll be it for week 9. So please reach out if there's any concerns on these topics. Happy to go through them in more detail. Thanks, everyone.